Welcome to another threatening interview on the Idle Threat Wrestling Podcast. I'm here today with Impact star Aiden. Thank you for coming on the show. Let's start with you're the tag team champion of Border City Wrestling still. So let's talk about you and Brett Banks. How was that going? We saw you tag up in Toronto on that was an Impact.
That was an Impact taping, yes.
You guys obviously have similar styles and gel together very well. And in Toronto, I think you got a pretty decent pop. They knew who you guys were.
It's all good.
What's it like tagging up with Brent?
First of all, I got to credit that pop to Brent. He's pretty big in Toronto, so they definitely knew Brent. But I've done a lot of different little tag team things and stuff in the past, but working with Brent has probably been one of the coolest experiences. He's great to work with. He's fun to work in the ring with. He gives sweet ideas, makes me look cool. I make him look cool, so it goes pretty good.
Now, don't sell yourself short though, because the night before was the Rebellion live pay-per-view,
yes.
And I was in the audience, and you got a very decent reception coming in, and I saw some Prince City shirts and everything. So.
Yes, that was, I don't know how many people know this, but I found out that day that I was on the pay-per-view, so, travel issues happened, I got placed in there, it was really cool. I think I owe a lot to the Destiny wrestling crowd at that point. Because a lot of those guys know who I am, so I think that nice little group on the stage get the rest of the crowd going with me. So that was a very cool experience.
Would you say that's a highlight of where you're at so far in your career?
Yes, I'd have to say that's a big deal because I think a lot of people have looked at me for a long time where, I'm a hometown guy, so of course I get on the Border City Wrestling, Impact Wrestling shows, right? So. I think me being on the tapings in Toronto, me doing the pay-per-view in Toronto kind of showed some people that, hey, they're not just looking at him because he's in Windsor, they're looking at him because he belongs with us. So.
And throughout so far the last few months, we've seen you on Impact. You've really been going at it with Ace Austin.
Yes.
And how is that, wrestling with him, working with him?
Ace is great. Ace has a contract, I don't. So I think every time I go out there with Ace, I have something to prove.
And it was nice to give you a little, from the two tapings in Windsor, a nice little rivalry kind of story.
Which was very cool. I didn't expect that. So it was very, very cool to see the vignettes and stuff like that. So, like you said, it really is kind of I'm at the peak of where I've been so far. And still climbing.
Of course, we got Impact Wrestling comes back to Windsor, Ontario at St. Clair College on July 19th and 20th, and we can only assume that you're going to be a big part of it.
Yes. If you've seen the posters and stuff like that, I'm definitely on there, so I will be part of, I hope, both days. If it's one day, then hey, I'm grateful to be there.
And it's probably going to be about the same thing, like 2 nights of taping, but we'll get four shows.
That's most likely the case.
So who knows how many times we will maybe actually see you.
That's what I mean.
So
I'll wrestle 100 times if they need me to.
And the fans in Windsor are very appreciative of your work. They really, really do enjoy it. Prince City, we call it around.
Yes.
So you see enough of the shirts, you get enough. You're definitely over in Windsor.
It's funny because the Prince City thing started as obviously an ode to Windsor, an ode to Win City.
Yep.
And then it's kind of spun into something bigger. I honestly, when I first put Prince City on a shirt, it was supposed to be just a shirt once, call it a day, and I think it's kind of grown into more of like I'd like to call it a movement, you know what I mean? Because kind of everywhere I go now, Prince City's with me type thing. It's not necessarily just Windsor anymore. It's wherever I go. It's my Hulkamaniacs. It's Prince City.
Yeah, and it's definitely working. And speaking of other cities, where have you been working lately since we saw you at the Impact?
I've been doing quite a bit in the Mississauga area between Battle Arts Academy, where Santino's school is, and Destiny Wrestling. They've really given me a lot of opportunities. I've had the pleasure of working with guys like Tyler Bate there, guys like Low Key there. So they've definitely given me a lot of confidence and a lot of a boost in that area. So which has also grown to places. I've done a little bit with Lucha Tio, Lucha Demand, whatever they're calling themselves nowadays. And then there's the Fort Erie area where I wrestle for Bordertown Wrestling. And then just right now it's just it's taking whatever I can get and trying to showcase what I can do better than everybody.
And even expanding and teaching future generations of wrestlers too, because you teach right here in the Can-Am. That's why I asked you tonight. You got a class later.
Yeah. This place made me who I am. and I know what it was like to walk in here terrified. So the fact that I've been blessed with the opportunity to show some young guys some stuff and give back and also know how it is to be in their shoes,
Right.
and to walk in these doors and be intimidated by an Impact logo or just a wrestling ring, you know
And
what I
all
mean?
the faces that are up around you
It's
that have come
intense,
through
you know what I
Border
mean?
City
Yeah,
and KDM Gym.
So I mean, me being able to be here, being a younger guy in the business and stuff, I think I take very well to the kids, and
That's
I mean,
always good when you got a guy that, and it wasn't too long ago either.
It wasn't, you know.
You started in what, 2012? With
About
the,
that,
about
yeah.
that?
I just had my 7-year.
Yeah, in
anniversary,
7 years, you
yeah.
definitely accomplished a lot. Even with go a little bit further, a couple years ago at Border City, you fought Pete Dunne. Right?
Yes,
That was
yes,
big.
yes.
At that time, that was probably up there for you in your career, right?
Yeah, I'd say that was probably the first match that I had where it was like, whoa, this is real. This isn't just, wrestle anymore. This is like, I think I can do this. Because I mean, I'm watching the guy with the WWE belt in his
Right.
hand, and he's walking down. I felt like I was in a video game, and then after the match, it was like I had this feeling inside me, like I could go with him.
Yeah.
So if I can go with him, then give me the next one. You know what I mean? Which really lit a bit of a fire under me. So I owe a lot of credit to Scott and to Border City Wrestling.
Right.
At that point.
And Border City, speaking of, has 2 events coming up in the near future. We have the
Yes.
First is the Father's Day show
Yes.
on June 15th,
Yes.
and you'll be a part of that.
Of course.
Elaborate on that a little bit.
The coolest thing about those little shows, and I don't even want to say little because sometimes they fill up, but I mean, they're obviously not the caliber of our St. Clair College shows, but those are the shows where I have the most fun because I can interact with people more personally. I can, be a little more fun. I can try new things, stuff that I don't gotta be so
Right.
worried about TV and cameras and pressure and everything that goes along with this crazy, amazing world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm able to just go out there and have fun, be funny, and
Yep.
you know.
And then you got the Essex Fun Fest,
Yes.
which is July 7th, and you're
Which-
on that too.
the same exact thing, It's like I love doing those little fair shows and stuff because I run around. I'm a giant child at the end of the
Yeah,
day,
I feel
so
you.
like I run around. I'm looking at animals and toys, and
Yeah, that's
I
cool.
love it. I love it.
And there too, it's the home base, you're comfortable in front of a
That's-
lot of the same
yeah.
people, maybe not so much in Essex, but at the St. Clair
Yeah.
show. And then again, you got, it's a free show, it's Windsor, it's promoting Windsor, it's Father's Day.
And that's-
It
that's
brings
the
in
other
new
thing.
people and they
Yes.
get a chance to see.
And if there's one thing I'm all about, it's the city, right? So I mean, anything we can do to give back, seeing all those different sponsorships and all the people that the charities help and all that, that's a really cool feeling,
For sure.
Just being able to, not only look at Windsor as like my life, but be able to give back to Windsor in the little way that I can.
Right, whatever you can do.
Exactly.
And another thing I just want to talk about with you is with working Border City, you design the flyers, and
Yes.
you do a really, I think they're a really clean looking, great
Thank you.
job on
Thank
the
you.
flyers.
Thank
It's
you.
is that something like Scott just kind of knew you did design and asked you, or did you have to kind of,
It's funny.
he kept asking to do it?
When I was I'm a huge nerd when it comes to computers. So when I was a little kid, I had like this really old, I think it was like a Windows 98 or Windows 95 computer, showing my age. And I had a scanner, and I used to scan my WWF magazines, and I'd print out the stuff, and I cut out the wrestlers and position my dream matches on a poster, and I'd photocopy that poster. So
So it's something you had already been doing
it
for
was
a very
something
long
that
time.
I just genuinely enjoyed, like fantasy matches and putting
Right.
Goldberg next to Stone Cold before they had ever seen each other, and like
And is that something, so you self-taught it to yourself? Never really
Exactly.
took a class or anything?
nothing.
Because the flyers,
No.
they've been using them for how long have they been using them in Border City?
Now almost since I started, just
Yeah.
about.
And,
our graphic guy had left right around the time I started, and I remember looking at the posters, and I'm a huge stickler for editing and graphics, so I knew that our wrestling was here, our graphics and stuff.
I do remember the older
Yes.
flyers being
So it was
kind of
like-
just really basic,
Yeah.
like, hey, we're bringing in King Kong Bundy. Here's
Yes,
King
I
Kong
just
Bundy
like-
on the picture, and then there's these guys, kind of. And
Right.
yours are always very nice, full,
Right,
with
and like
all the different guys.
I would see those and I bring it up to Scott all the time, like whenever, and then I started kind of making stuff, and then it turned into he was helping me learn make graphics because he was teaching me, you obviously have to put the bigger stars bigger, and
Right.
these people are background people. Some people don't belong on the flyer yet. There's a lot of different levels that come to it, which. So again, I owe a lot to him even in my graphic work because he gave me so much work to practice.
Yeah.
And I mean, I gotta give him credit. There was times I was so stressed out, but it was like, I learned so much just making those graphics over the years that you can even see if you look at my first posters with that.
Everything.
To now it's just evolved, right?
Yeah.
And I
basically
think
now you're doing impact posters in a way.
Which was really cool, you know. I mean,
your
they
work
obviously
gets out there. Everybody sees it almost like
Exactly.
the world gets to see it because I'm sure those flyers show up on Twitch and Fight Network when they're promoting the
like
shows,
I've
right?
done like the 25th anniversary. I did the commercial, and I mean, I still get to watch that on the Global Wrestling Network or Impact Plus now, and like stuff like that. So it's
rewarding too.
that part of it's cool.
Yeah.
And I think when you had said, you know, I didn't take a class or anything, I think it relates to wrestling in the sense of like some things you just can't teach.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, you can't teach passion in somebody. And I'm not saying that someone who doesn't have it can't get it, because I was in a dark place at one time and I got out of that, right? But you can't teach passion.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you really can't. So
It's something you like.
It's
You're
just
always
one of
like
those
get
things.
away like the Tommy Dreamer, Bubba Ray Dudley of Border City.
Which
Extra
feels
work,
great.
anything I
Which
could do
is
to
great.
help, right?
And it was really cool
compliment.
that as I got into things and I talked to guys like Tommy and stuff like that, and I see Sammy Callahan does design stuff with Impact. So it's like seeing those guys, and it's like, oh, I can do both.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was a time where I was like, oh, I gotta do one or the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Being involved with Border City and Impact and that has showed me so much in the fact that I can do everything. You know, I can wrestle, I can do design stuff, I can make videos, and you know, use it at the end of the day.
Well, today is May 23rd, 2019, which today is the 20th anniversary of Owen Hart's tragic accident at the Over the Edge pay-per-view. And I just would like maybe you to share some of your memories of watching Owen Hart growing up, and if he was at all an influence on the way you are in the ring or anything
He
you
definitely,
do. 'Cause I think almost all us Canadians are influenced by the Harts in some way or
totally,
another.
totally.
Even if we're not wrestlers.
Right. Growing up, I had a few favorites. I had Brian Pillman, I had Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, and Owen Hart. So any of the whole Hart Foundation, the gimmick of it, all of it was sweet to me. And I always liked Owen because he did backflips, or you know, he did hurricanranas, things like that. It was like the little cruiserweight brother type things.
Yeah.
I always loved Owen for that, and he could talk. He could really talk.
Yeah, he was maybe the best Hart of them all.
Yeah, he was very good, right? So
he could do pretty much anything. We talked about that on my podcast today. Just how he could adapt to anything that was thrown at him.
Exactly, right?
Yokozuna's your tag partner.
Oh,
Guess what? We're gonna be the tag champions then, right?
And it's cool hearing about the ribs he pulled and stuff. So, I mean, I can only imagine. Like, you can tell he was a big part of the locker room. You can tell he was a special guy. So, and I know people just like that, you know. So I can't even imagine how hard that was for a lot of people. So, but yeah.
Well, I'll let you get to your class in a few minutes. Just anything else you want to plug, promote, your Facebook page or Instagram, whatever you want to do.
Check out my Instagram. Hopefully there's a link somewhere in this area. You can check me out at the Aiden Prince on Twitter, at Aiden Prince on Instagram, and just search Aiden Prince on Facebook. If you do have a wrestling promotion, you feel like, you know, boosting up your graphic design work, check out Michael Lopez Design on Facebook. And hit us up, and we'll see what we can do for you.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me at the gym.
Thank
you
you
for coming by here.
Thank you.
And for the Idle Threat Wrestling Podcast, I'm Joey Idle. It's been Aiden Prince. See you later.